this for myself.
Oh my gosh, it's over.
Windy City Assassin does it again. Give me the hot sauce. Give me the hot sauce, Bob.
Hard to believe, but NBA teams are back at work getting ready for the 2021-22 campaign. It is time for episode 48 of Give Me the Hot Sauce. I'm trying to think of famous 48s. You know, Nazir Muhammad wore 48 with the Bulls. Not too many guys in the NBA wore 48, did they, Stacey?
No. It's not. It's just not a fun number.
No. You get some defensive backs in the NFL, maybe a couple of baseball players. But
I don't care. It's just not a fun number. 48. It's just like,
Ralph Garr wear that, the Roadrunner with the White Sox and the Braves. You got your Braves hat on.
Yeah,
Ralph Garr?
Yes, I did. Yes,
Ralph
I did.
Garr.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Murphy.
We got
Murphy.
two generations of Milwaukee baseball here. The Milwaukee Braves became the Atlanta Braves, and
they did.
Stinger, if you're watching us on YouTube, he's got his Milwaukee Brewers hat. They proudly celebrated a Central Division championship on Sunday.
Yeah, the NL Central 2021. Yeah, a lot went into that too. You only get one chance to get that right, and it builds for the whole week. You know, we were waiting, and we kept losing to the Cardinals. And Sunday was special.
Cardinals 16 in a row. Yeah, that's crazy.
But it was special. With full house, biggest crowd of the year. We had bronze ceremony. We had euchre the night before. Just a great atmosphere. It was incredible to be able to, kind of direct that and have locker room access and get the champagne. We cued it perfectly. We were live on that shot, and all the interviews and all the little kids running on the field and the confetti. And it was really a cool moment.
And the colored bars.
Oh, yeah, color bars during the celebration.
Wow.
Yeah.
Why do you got to go there?
Harshest critic.
Normally under these circumstances, I mean, you know what?
Sorry.
John worked that game, man.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to talk trash about the Milwaukee Brewers, okay?
All right.
Who cares? That's what I'm going to say. But it's because John worked there, I'm going to hold back. I'm going to hold back my comments, because this is celebration.
Yeah.
It's his celebration. And see, there you are. And you jumped in on your husband.
Well,
see, there you go.
Yeah. I mean, we're in broadcasting. We get those moments. I mean, we're all regional.
Oh, yes.
We don't get to do the World Series, but King and I did the 3 overtime game against the Nets, and we've had some big moments. Baseball, it's like it builds to that one moment.
It's such a long season. 62 games. You got to celebrate.
Yeah, and it's just great to see the players. They had the big 40-40. Pouring beer over everybody in this 40
cigars. Ounces?
Yeah, they had the 40-ounce malt liquor.
Marlin malt liquor?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, that's what I needed to be, baby. Well, I needed to be there.
Yeah, everybody. It is Milwaukee Brew Town.
Billy D. Williams.
Get your T-shirt and get your 40-40, man.
Oh, and she'll like it too. Yeah, that's what I would have been right there. So, I'd have been right there if I'd have known that.
You can't put that in a shoe.
I'm
done.
Disgusting.
The Cubs, I've done some clinching games with them, but it was never like I remember the one year they clinched because the team lost, but it was so late at night, they didn't celebrate till the next day, but they really weren't going to celebrate. But then Montero hit the home run, and then it was a walk-off. So then they ended up celebrating in the field. That was cool. But I've done clinching games in St. Louis with the Cubs, and it's just not the same when you're at home. It's like a double.
Well, how about the White Sox? They clinched in between games of a day-night doubleheader. They had to wait until after the night game to celebrate.
Yeah.
So these guys, and they celebrated deep into the night.
Yeah, maybe if they had won that game that I was doing with Adam, we had that rain delay, we could have celebrated earlier.
Yeah.
I was going to throw that out there, White Sox. I still haven't forgot about that. Congratulations, but I still haven't forgot about that. What a fun night.
That's why you got your Braves hat on.
Yeah, fun night.
Well, Stingers had a lot of fun in the city of Milwaukee. Of course, he directed the Bucks championship parade, and now they have to try to defend that title. That came really quickly with the way the season ending in July, and now they're starting up again in October. So we're going to take a look around the NBA and talk about some of the big storylines going around the league. Let's start at home with the Bulls. They held their media day on Monday at the United Center, and I think one of the things that they were trying to talk about a lot, Stacey, is the fact that DeMar DeRozan and Zach LaVine both said in no uncertain terms, hey, we can coexist. It's not going to be a problem with your shot, my shot. They feel like they can be integrated into an offensive system, and they can both be very productive.
Well, I think, when you look at how they need to play up and down. They need to play fast where they're getting a lot of opportunities to score. And how do you do that? You push the ball in transition, you get out in the fast break, and those guys will get their shots. But at some point, you're going to have to play half court. And at some point, you're going to have to find ways to score. Zach's used to having the ball in his hands, operating at the top of the circle, and then being able to create for himself, for his teammates. DeRozan's a little different. DeRozan's a guy that doesn't shoot 3-pointers. That's not his game. So he's more of the mid-range jump shooter, kind of like Kawhi Leonard. He can post up. He can go inside on smaller guys, and he can also hit that mid-range jump shot between 18 and 20 feet, which really makes him deadly. He's one of the best mid-range shooters in the NBA.
Coming up in our next segment, we have a special guest. Thaddeus Young is going to join us. Of course, he was traded to San Antonio to bring DeMar DeRozan here to Chicago, and we'll ask him about a lot of different issues with some of the Bulls' young players and what he expects with his new home in San Antonio, if he's going to stay there or if he might get traded to a contending team before it's done. Let's continue our discussion on the Bulls. Lonzo Ball today seemed very happy, Stacey, because he's back to what he is used to doing, being the lead guard, the point guard who's going to have the ball in his hands most of the time. Billy Donovan said that he wants Lonzo to push the pace. He wants this team to play fast, and I think that's going to play to Lonzo's strengths.
Well, if you saw Billy Donovan in Oklahoma City with Chris Paul and Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, he wants his guards to push the ball. So now he's got a true point guard that can do that with size, 6'6". He brings a different element that the Bulls have not had on their roster. This is a pass first, pass second type of point guard. Is really going to help this team because he's a guy at 6'6" that is looking to make plays. He's looking to push the ball in transition. And if you know anything about Billy Donovan, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, Chris Paul, they really pushed the pace in Oklahoma City, went from a team that wasn't even supposed to make the playoffs to a number four seed in the bubble that year. And Shai Gilgeous-Alexander turned the corner to be close to knocking on superstar level. So I expect the same thing with Lonzo. Lonzo's been in this league long enough now that he knows his strengths and weaknesses. He's a much better three-point shooter than he was when he first came in the league, which is really, really a good testament to how hard he works on his game. And then the second thing is that he is a very good on-ball defensive player. He's not some point guard that's going to get stuck on screens and not be able to fight over. You're going to see him get after guys. He's up there and steals all the time, loves to play the passing lanes, and that's going to get your fast break going.
And he's really improved his shooting. Last year, he shot 38% from the three-point line. When he first came into the league, he had that kind of janky wind-up to his shot, and now he's smoothed it out, and he can knock down that three. One of the big storylines at Media Day today was the status of Patrick Williams, the second-year forward, who had a good summer league, was more aggressive on the offensive end, looked like he was really going to try to work on all the things the coaches want him to do. And then, unfortunately, he rolled his ankle in an individual workout on September 15th, and the timeline for him is a 4 to 6 week recovery, which should get him right about ready for opening night. But this kid was coming on strong, and Stacey, as a player, missing that time, even though he's going to be doing rehab work, that's going to be valuable time he's going to lose.
Well, doesn't it seem like it's something every season going into training camp where the Bulls, for at least the last 6 or 7 years, even going back to Derrick Rose time here, that every year right before training camp, someone goes down with an injury that cost them most of the season. Larry Marketing had the elbow injury the one time. And it's just so sad because this is an opportunity for year 2 to see this kid take a big leap in his abilities and things he can do, especially on the offensive end, to be more aggressive. He's going to be playing stretch forward, which is a different position, but he'll have nice matchups every night when he's healthy and he's able to go out there and play again. It really hurts though, because you really wanted to see, that's the one guy you really wanted to see how he used the offseason. We saw in the summer league, he played really well. He was very aggressive because he knew that was his team. He was the main guy. Now you're coming on the team. Now I need to see if he's going to have that same mentality with these guys who are all-stars and veteran players, or is he going to defer like we saw him do last year? He has the ability to be one of the main guys on this team and be one of the main cogs in the future. This is why it's so important for him to be in training camp. And now he's got to miss 4 to 6 weeks. I hope a speedy recovery, but he will be back hopefully before the start of the season. But that training camp, missing training camp hurts.
One of the interesting things I heard from Billy Donovan today was he said that he challenged Patrick Williams at the end of the season to get in better shape, which is amazing to think that a 19-year-old kid needs to improve his conditioning. But he said that we saw during games where he'd be explosive at times, and then he would coast a little bit because his conditioning wasn't where it needed to be. And I asked Patrick, I said, what was that conversation like? And he goes, yeah, he challenged me. He says, you got to be in better shape if you want to be the player that everybody expects you to be.
Well, I think it was like any typical 19-year-old, eating at McDonald's,
Sure.
Eating fast food, not really taking care of your body the right way, not knowing how to do that. And you're coming from college as an 18-year-old and, everything's set out for you, team meals or whatever. You get to the pros, it's every man for himself. You got to be able to get up in the morning, get your breakfast. There was times last year they said that he would come to practice and he was gassing out in practice because he didn't eat breakfast. And they were like, what do you mean you need breakfast? And the Bulls have chefs. I mean, as soon as you walk in the building, there's guys cooking you things, and it was just, he didn't seem like it was important to him. So he wanted to get out on the court. So he was bypassing breakfast and he was gassing out during the practices. And they said, hey, look, man, you got to start eating. You got to eat breakfast in the morning. Get in there and get a good breakfast, get the protein, get protein shakes, whatever you need to do so you can have energy through practice and sustain that energy level. So he's still learning. I mean, Thaddeus Young was good for him. The question is, who is he going to lean on this year?
Yeah,
who is going to be the veteran that's going to take him and Kobe White under their arm and say, hey, this is how you got to do it. Maybe it's DeMar DeRozan, maybe it's
Vucevic.
Lonzo Ball, maybe it's Vucevic. I don't know.
Yeah.
Some of these guys are lead by example type of guys. They're not guys that are actually going to say, come here. Thad was that guy. Come here. You're my rookie. You're going to go with me. I'm going to show you how it's done. I don't know who that guy is this year.
Hey, King, I know we got the banners behind you. You played on those 3 championship teams and how important. I was trending an article. It's a couple years old, but it talks about the importance of the first 20 games and how a team in the East, if they're 9-11, that's on the border of making the playoffs with all these new changes, in your experience of getting off to fast starts. How much of a, challenge is that going to be for the Bulls?
Well, what you see early, and this is a trend. The younger teams in the first part of the season jump out ahead of everybody because they got the fresh legs, and the veteran teams are kind of like, we're just going to work our way through. By December, we're going to be ready to go. So you're going to see teams, the Bulls having an opportunity, with their young players. But you see these young teams get off to these great starts and then they fade, right after December, they fade and they end up being where they're supposed to be. And then the veteran teams will always come and catch up and then bypass them. And then you can see the difference in the two teams. So I don't expect that trend to change. I expect to see some teams out the gate fast, like Charlotte, Atlanta. I expect to see these young teams with these young athletic kids to be out and out in the gate, right from the start. I think the Bulls could be that same way too, because their situation a little bit different. They don't have a lot of like young legs, like, besides Patrick Williams, who's not going to play, or Kobe. They've got veteran players.
Yeah.
They got to come out and get off to a good start just because you need to do that with a whole new roster. They have to get off to a good start. They've got to get off a good start offensively and defensively. And the number one thing they need to do is establish home court, because teams have been able to come in here the last 3 or 4 years and like it's a home game for them. They come in, they don't even they rest their stars certain nights. That can't happen this year. If LeBron James comes in and says, well, or Luka sits out on a Friday game but plays on a Saturday game, that kind of stuff. We saw a lot of that last year. That can't happen this year. Teams have got to come in and understand that when they play the Bulls, they're in for a fight and they got to play their guys.
One of the things that was interesting from Arturas Karnisovas, he was asked about the free agent recruitment and how the organization is being perceived. And he actually was pretty honest. He said, we were pleasantly surprised at how many free agents were receptive to the idea of playing in Chicago. He says it's a major market. People love the city, especially in the summertime. But people saw what Zach LaVine was doing, making an all-star team for the first time, then being on a part of the Olympic team. And all of a sudden, it's interesting that the city of Chicago's got a little buzz behind it now in terms of being able to recruit some of these top players.
Well, I think a lot of it has to do with change in the front office. Mm-hmm. I mean, not taking anything away from Gar and Pax. I just think that their reputation on the outside, wasn't good for players, and so now you got a whole new front office in. You got Zach LaVine that's friends with everybody in the league now. He's recruiting guys. You look at what we're doing right now with the roster that we have. This is just the first step, America. This is the first step. The first step is trying to get to the playoffs and then build on that, and I think if they can do that, that's going to sell free agents. That's going to get guys that want to come here because it's like, wait a minute, Chicago's doing something special there. They're trying to win. They're not trying to rebuild. They're reloading. And now they've upheaved their whole roster. It's a whole different roster. If these guys come out here this year, let's say they win 45 games. Okay. I think they can win 50. But, you know, I mean, that's just me. But if they win 45 games, they get to the playoffs, and let's say they play a competitive first round a game and they get to the second round. That's a great season for them. That's another building block for free agents to say, hey, look, man, maybe they're just one power forward away. Maybe they're just one small forward, because all these guys talk. So, you know, Kevin Durant, Brooklyn's not even though he signed his deal, Brooklyn is kind of shaky over there because you got Kyrie Irving doesn't want to play without, you know, because he doesn't want the vaccination. So, you know, there's a lot of free agents out there that are looking at this situation. Kawhi Leonard could be a guy that could want to come here in a couple of years. You just never know.
Anthony Davis when LeBron retires.
You just never know. So that's why you got to put a competitive team that guys want to come here and go, yeah, you know what? I want to play here. Now, when, you know, Jim Boylen was here and Fred was here, it wasn't an interesting place to play because it was a rebuilding type of situation. A lot of young players and a lot of veterans like, man, I don't want to do that. We're chasing rings. You know, that's the same thing with Paul Millsap. Paul Millsap had a chance to come here and play, probably start here, but chose to chase a ring in Brooklyn and then probably want to come back later on. And yeah, I'm ready to come back to Chicago now. Well, it's too late. We already established we got a power forward. Now you're going to have to come off the bench. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see if they can continue to build on this.
A question about the Nets. Do you see them being able to re-sign Kyrie and James Harden?
They're going to do what they have to do to keep that team together, especially if it gets to the finals. If they get to the finals and win, they're going to do whatever they have to do to keep that team. You have to. You have to, because it's so hard to win an NBA championship. And they've invested so much in those three guys. They traded for Harden, gave up a bunch for him. You know, you got Kyrie Irving. You really invested a lot of stuff for those three guys. You're not going to let them walk unless Kyrie just makes it so hard for you to have to deal with him. Because, I mean, you hear all these stories about him, like he's just a pain in the butt, you know? So if you know, Sean Marks is like, well, you know what, we're tired of this. You know, we know that Harden and Kevin Durant can carry us. We just get a solid playmaker, you know, like a Kemba Walker type guy, or, you know, somebody like that. They can still win, because you almost went to the finals just with Kevin Durant last year.
Yeah.
And a bunch of role players. So you throw a Harden out there who's healthy. If he would have been healthy next year, they beat Milwaukee.
Problem is, though, that Kyrie and KD came to Brooklyn as a package deal. I heard one former NBA executive saying that, yeah, the Nets could be a team that could get involved with Philadelphia to try to bring Ben Simmons over to trade him for Kyrie, but KD wouldn't have it. That's his guy, and you cannot split those guys up. So that kind of ties Sean Mark's hands. It's a package deal.
That's a smart move, though, don't you think? On paper,
could
because
be.
You know,
you got this Harden runs the point.
He says that now. Yeah. He says that now. But if you get into a situation that you had in Oklahoma City with Westbrook, where it's no longer fun playing with him because he's going to do his own thing, he doesn't care about the team, then, you know, you see Kevin Durant going, you know, yeah, maybe either I'm going to leave, or, you know, he's saying that now because they haven't really played together.
Right.
They have not played, you know, 30 games together. So I'm sure that's his boy. I came here with them. I want to give him a chance. Let's see what we do this year. And if they make it to the finals and win a championship, then, you know, who cares? But if they don't, they get, you know, knocked out before the Eastern Conference Finals, which that could happen. That could very well happen.
What about the rules in New York and California, though?
Yeah, well, you have to be vaccinated. Indoor arenas.
I mean, or you just don't play. And, you know, I mean, listen, people are making people get vaccinated, whether you want to be vaccinated or not. It's going to get to the point where you can't go anywhere, can't get on a plane. You're not going to be able to go in any venues or restaurants unless you're vaccinated. And, you know, it's a shame that, you know, that it's got to that point, but there's a lot of NBA players who don't want to get vaccinated. They're probably not going to get to play in certain cities unless they get vaccinated.
Well, Bradley Beal came out today too, right? For personal reasons.
Kyrie Irving was away from the team.
Right. But I mean, another superstar player in Beal is said that for personal reasons too. So,
you know, and the Bulls players who were asked about it at media day all declined to answer.
So there you go.
I think it's a league directive telling the players don't comment publicly on your status.
Yeah, because I mean, you go down a rabbit hole. You know, I mean, it's too touchy in the country. I mean, you see all these people, you know, boycotting schools, you know, they don't want their kids to wear masks. And, you know, I mean, listen, you have your own preference. My preference is I'm going to get the vaccination. I'm going to get the booster when I'm available, get the booster, because you know what? I like to feel safe.
Yeah.
And I'm going to be honest with you, America, you can do what you want. But I know for me, when I didn't get the vaccination, I didn't feel safe. I didn't feel safe going anywhere. I stayed in my house like Howard Hughes. I didn't go anywhere. I didn't go to the grocery store. I didn't go anywhere. But once I got my shot, I felt both my shots. I felt protected. I felt like, I can get out and move around a little bit more. I still was watching what I was doing. I wasn't going with a large crowd of people. I wasn't doing any of that stuff, but
especially Whispers took your shots, right?
Yeah.
I got 3 in one day.
Stacey got the good stuff.
Listen, you know what? America. I don't know what episode that was, America. But let me tell you, America. I lied on the shot thing. You had to fill out this form.
Excuse me, sir.
Hey, America. Hey, I wasn't gonna be a lab rat. Okay, so I go in there. They make me fill out something. They said, so I fill out.
Black guy.
You were the black guy. I said I'm white. I said white. I put on white on my thing. So when I went to go get my little card to go get the shot, the lady goes, she's looking at me. So she's like, and then she starts to laugh.
Do not adjust your television set.
She started to laugh. She goes, well, you're African American. I said, no, I'm white. And she goes, no. On here he says you're white, but you're not white, Mr. King.
Are you identifying as a white person?
Yes, I said I want the same shot you got. You're white. I don't get the same shot you got.
But then he throws me under the bus. And Whispers over there.
And then so he got
what happened?
Larry the Lobster.
Larry the Lobster.
See the coloring on that guy?
He went over there to get. I was supposed to go to 16 in the initial. I was supposed to go to 16, but they gave me 15. So that was his. He was supposed to go to 15. I was going to 16.
That is true.
But they switched it. It got reversed. So I went to 15.
The old suckers flies buzzing around.
Yeah. He went to mine, the original one I was supposed to get, the one where they send the black guy. So he went over there, and then he's like, immediately, he's like, oh, God.
Don't feel right.
He was cheering the whole time. It's like, woohoo. Like, what just happened?
Weren't you sick for like a week and a half?
Yeah, he was.
Yeah, he was sick.
Yeah.
I called him. I said, hey, Tim, what's up, man? I'm just calling to check on you, see how you doing. Yeah. Oh, man, I had 103 temperature. Oh, my God, my body had body chills. I go, for real? He goes, what symptoms did you have? Nothing.
Yeah,
I was walking around.
We're supposed to refrigerate the vaccine, right?
Oh, they got him. They got him with a warm vaccination. They like we say that for Stacey King, but he put the old switcheroo on us, baby. He put down race white, and I got away with it.
Had active biofactors in there.
And then he had a nerve. He had a nerve to ask the lady the next time, right? Because he didn't want to go. Whisper didn't want to go get the second shot. I had to talk him into it.
Yeah, he was going to try to walk through the line.
So he asked the lady
off Amazon.
Yeah,
see if I can skip.
So he had he was going to keep the old Band-Aid. It was like a month old, but it was peeling off. So he goes and sits down with the lady. He goes, oh, hey, can I get symptoms again, on this second shot? Oh, yes. She made it a lot worse this time. She said a lot worse. Oh, yeah, you could be 103 degrees temperature. She made him. Tim was like, oh. I said, just sit there, Whispers, get it, baby. You can do it.
Oh, she was a diplomat from Wuhan. She's like, you done. It's like, oh.
No. Well, what was the encounter with the 6'8" power forward guy that showed up?
The guy who worked for I think Walgreens, and he kept harassing me and Whispers because after you take a shot they make you sit for like 15 minutes to make sure you don't pass out.
We were an experiment.
Yeah, so he just kept following me and Whispers around, right? So I was like,
Did he have a lab coat on?
No, he just had a suit on, and he was from California. He came from California, so he was there.
He had that gold bar though, right to the top. Never trusted.
Never trusted.
Was it a man code violation?
No, it was just he was just creepy. It was just like, and so finally he confronted us. He said, hey guys, how's the shot? And I was like, well, who are you? Like, he goes, my name is such and such. I'm here for Walgreens. I came down because I need some help, administer shots or whatever. How you feel? And I was like, I feel great. How do you feel? Did you get the shot? He's like, oh yeah, I got shot. I got shot in California. I feel really good. And then he's like, hey, here's my card. If something doesn't feel right, call me.
Did you call him?
Did you call him?
No, it said Jimmy Mengele on it. I was going to call this guy. I'm like, I'm out.
But when who gives you a card? Who gives you a card?
Not Joseph.
After thousands of people walk through
that's his great grandfather.
And he's like, here's a card. If you start feeling really bad or anything, just call me. And I'm like, what do you know that we don't know? Like, why would you do that? It was very weird. I was just like, of all the people that were passing around and one.
Is this an endorsement?
Yeah, you're talking everyone out of it.
I still shop at Walgreens.
Hey, listen, all I'm going to say, America, listen, if you ain't got get Pfizer. If you got your choice, get Pfizer. That's all I'm going to tell you. And the reason my reason for Pfizer is?
2 shots?
No. Forget the 2 shots.
Because Moderna sounds like a furniture company.
Okay. My reasons for Pfizer is because when Trump, the vice president Pence, everybody in Washington took Pfizer. Nobody took Moderna. Nobody. Everybody. And they were jumping the line in D.C. The executives were, and the congressmen and senators, they were jumping the line for Pfizer. So what does that tell you?
Get Pfizer.
Exactly. Trump was the first one in line.
The conspiracy theories of Stacey King.
Hey,
we relive a special moment.
Don't do it,
Give me
America.
the hot sauce.
The grassy knoll.
Hey, listen, I'm just saying. I'm saying Trump was taking Pfizer. Hey, I don't agree with everything he does, but I agree with that.
No one
Pfizer.
But no one got COVID taking our hot sauce, and that's a fact.
Yes. If you take our hot sauce,
That's
ladies
not a
and gentlemen,
that can cure
that can
anything.
cure anything. Exactly.
So make sure to visit
St. Pat's
GimmeTheHotSauce.com.
Put it on your
We've got
wounds,
plenty of
everything.
products
And
ready
she'll
to
like
send
it
to you. We're going to take a quick break here. When we come back, we're going to hear from the former Bull, Thaddeus Young, get his take on what the Bulls can expect this year and what's going on with him down in San Antonio. That's next. Episode 48. Give me the hot sauce.
Give me the hot sauce. Give me the hot sauce. Sriracha. We got Georgia Tech fight song. Sriracha. Give me the hot sauce.
Welcome back. It is our NBA preview edition of Give Me the Hot Sauce. It is now our privilege and pleasure to welcome in Thaddeus Young, who had a couple of great seasons here with the Chicago Bulls, really helped that young group galvanize and come together. Now he's going to start his first season playing down in San Antonio for the Spurs. Thad, thank you so much for joining us today. I know you got a young family and you had to move them down to Texas. You've been busy trying to get your life in order before training camp starts next week. How difficult has that been?
I mean, it's pretty difficult, but I mean, for the good part is like I have a really good wife and my brother. They both make sure everything's kind of in line with the living situation and stuff like that. So while I'm in the gym, they're out looking at houses and doing certain things, and I trust their judgment. So they've been doing a lot of the leg work, and I've been just still trying to stay with regular life as far as playing basketball.
Hey, Stacey, I followed Thad's wife on Twitter. She doesn't mess around. Is that created some awkward moments for you at times, Thad?
Couple times. Couple times, PRs had to walk into the locker room like, "Yo, this tweet right here." I was like, "Yeah, I'll say something, man. It's okay."
Hey, listen, you can't get mad at her, man. She supports. That's what she's supposed to do.
No,
it's
for
like,
sure.
That's why
I don't say nothing.
Yeah. You gotta, Dad, you ain't gotta apologize for having a ride or die a chick, man. Come on, baby. Don't apologize, man. That's what you want. That's what every man wants.
Roost, yeah.
No, that's for sure. No, for sure. We've been, obviously like rocking out since high school. So,
high school sweethearts, huh? Y'all been go way back.
Yep, way back. Yep. So I'm not saying anything. She can tweet. She can tweet whatever she want to tweet.
Exactly. That's a freedom of speech. That's what I mean. Anybody getting mad at someone's spouse or anybody in their family tweeting, man. Yeah. Listen, man, that's their opinion, and you shouldn't be getting mad about that. That's terrible.
What's it like?
Right.
Take us through that, Thad. When you've been with a few teams now, and what's it like? People talk about the glamour, stardom of the NBA. But for you, picking up and relocating and can you talk about that process?
Yeah, I mean it's hard, like especially like if you get traded during the season, it's super hard because of the simple fact of like you just got to kind of pick up and move, and like you got your whole family and you got to get everybody like ready to go, and kids are in school, So I think that's the hardest part, like during the season. But like all season, like you got a little time to kind of like work it a little bit when it's in the off season, depending on what part of the off season it is. So, for me, I'm at a stage now where a lot of things are like up in the air. Like I know y'all probably have seen like reports that I might get traded and stuff like that. So you never know what can happen. So you try to figure out what's going on as soon as possible. And like for me, I was just trying to figure out, okay, like what are we doing? Like, talking with Brian, from the Spurs, and then just trying to figure that situation out. Like, okay, what are we doing? Like, what's going on? So I can know, and then I can know what I need to do with my family or what I need to do with myself or not.
So there's a chance that you've heard rumors that you could be traded again
to a contender. Yeah.
I mean, that's what some of the stories are. I mean, we all read the stories, but nothing happens until it happens. Until it pops across that ticker.
Yeah, and one of the things is you're going to another young team. We just talked about it off the air. San Antonio being much younger than the Bulls team, and I thought the Bulls team was young until I saw the San Antonio roster. They're young, and so you being a veteran, and I thought the one thing that you did when you were here, you were a calming force. You led off the court, on the court. You showed them how to prepare. You try to show them how to eat and take care of themselves off the court. And then you came in there. You weren't a guy that just waved the towel. You were a guy that still was producing at a high level. And that was an example for guys like Patrick Williams last year, seeing a veteran go out there and not only talk about it, but be about it.
Right. Yeah. Like, I mean, that's always been like the part of me, like going out in games, like this, go out there and control what you can control, but, just play your heart out, as much as possible. But also like, with having so many young guys, I remember like Coach Cheeks, when I first had him as my first coach in the league, he would always say, like, you're a young guy. You just don't know. You just don't know. And I never figured that out until like later on. I was like, oh, okay. Like, I see what he was saying. As I started to play with more and more young guys, I'll say, like, when I first got Zach in Minnesota, like, it was just a lot of stuff that he just didn't know. He was such a young guy coming in, and the game was just so much more different than college. It's like he just didn't know. So, like, and then you got some vets that they don't want to teach them. Yeah. I'm one of those guys that's more than willing to teach everybody, because I believe in, the team concept and us going out there, and in order for us to win, we got to win together. Like, I'm not a superstar player. I'm gonna have some big nights, I'm gonna have some big games, but I'm one of those guys that's like a glue guy. He's gonna keep everything together. He's gonna be that common force, like you said, and he's gonna make sure like when he's out there on the court, he's going to put everybody in a position to be able to be successful. And I think that's what I've been able to be successful at, just helping guys get into successful positions and just talking guys through certain things. Like, I was talking to, Keldon today, and just telling him, like, look, like I'm more than willing to pass. I'm one of those guys that's going to do like all of those small things. I want to make your job easier. Like, I'm not coming here to take your spot or take anybody else's spot. I'm coming here to help. Like, I'm coming to make sure that we all put in work together in order so we can win games.
At that, talking about Keldon Johnson, who was part of Team USA. Zach LaVine, of course, did a great job playing for Greg Popovich, accepted a role as a defensive guy off the bench, and really, I think, impressed a lot of people around the league with his willingness to take on whatever role it took for Team USA to be successful. You mentioned that you were with Zach briefly in Minnesota, and then you had a couple of years with him with the Bulls. How proud are you of how efficient a player Zach has become? And now he's being recognized around the league as an elite player, a guy that is truly worthy of his status as one of the top 25 players in the league.
Yeah. Like, I'm super proud of him. He's like, a little brother to me. Like, we literally just talked probably like a day ago or 2 days ago. He was getting on a flight going back to Chicago. And, we were just talking about, like, him going through this season, and, he was basically like telling me, like, I'm still need that leadership, because, like, he's still a growing leader himself. And, I just told him, I said, it's going to, like, I said, look, as much as you're going to score, as much as you're going to do certain things, like, you got to keep yourself on that high, because you're going to run into some speed bumps, and you just don't want them speed bumps to get you at a low point. So, when you're on that high and, you're doing what you're doing, you got to make sure you bring everybody up to that high or that medium point, with you. And if you can continue to do that throughout the season, y'all gonna be fine.
So when you look at Zach and you saw his production last year, you see guys like Kobe and Patrick Williams. What's the ceiling do you see for Patrick Williams? Because it seems like this year they're going to move him to the stretch 4 position. But what is his ceiling for the future?
Man, honestly, like, I think his sky's the limit for Pat. Like, some of the things that he can do just off natural ability is just crazy. Like, He's super athletic. He has big hands. He can shoot the mid range. He can shoot the three. He just has to continue to be aggressive. Like, he has to understand, like, when certain guys aren't playing in games, or like when he's out there like with like a second unit or something like that, he's the man. Like, and that's what I tried to instill in him in the last like couple games of the season last year. Like, I think we played like Brooklyn and Milwaukee, and Zach and Vooch didn't play. So I told him, I said, look, when they sit down, he's sorry about that. I said, look, when he sits down, like when those two guys sit down, like, you're the guy. Like, and you have to prove that each and every time they sit down. Like it is no sidestepping, there's no lack in points scored or anything like that. Like, you're gonna take over when they sit down. So you have to understand. I'm trying to get him to understand that. So I always would ask him, does he want to be great? And then I tell him to go out there and prove it to me.
Thad, I want to ask you about your start of your Bulls run. Obviously, you played on a number of very good Indiana teams, made the playoffs every year. You were a starter, very great contributor.
Free Thad.
And then Jim Boylen asked you to stand in the corner and shoot threes. What was that whole experience like for you? That had to be one of the weirdest seasons you've had as an NBA player.
For sure. It was definitely one of the weirdest, but it was just super different for me. Like, and it was unexpected. I think that they carved out a role for me that they kind of like wanted me kind of like cemented in, and it wasn't the role for like me or the well-being of the team. So, and I think a lot of us that year, that first year I came to Chicago, I think a lot of us didn't have the role that that we all should have been playing in. Like, we were trying to be a team that we weren't. Like, we were playing defense that we shouldn't have been playing, for like long periods of time in a game. And like, I think our adjustments was like a little bit behind a little bit. So like if we were playing defense, like, we didn't change our defense up according to the teams that we were playing. So that kind of put us in a position to where we were playing on our heels a lot. As far as on the offensive side of basketball, like obviously, like, Golden State, Houston, and all those teams, Brooklyn at that time, were shooting a lot of threes. So, other teams see that and they like, okay, like, we wanted our team to shoot a lot of threes, get up a lot of threes. But it's not the person. It's not the personnel you had. Like I used to always go in entire meetings and I would say, look, we're built forward, tough to play in the paint.
Yeah,
let's play that way.
Yeah,
and then we can kick out. we can kick out, and we can get everything else. And then I think we did it in spurts, and those games that we did in spurts, we did very well at it. But when you've been instilled in a structured system, in guys' head for the whole season, that's what guys are starting to get accustomed to, and they start to try to play that way, no matter if we're good in those situations or we're bad in those situations.
At least they're punching the time clock, though, Stacey.
Yeah.
I have yet to know where that time clock was, because I refused to go and put a time clock.
Hey, I tell you what, the one thing that I noticed last year with Billy Donovan is that Billy Donovan knew your game. He knew where to put you in the spots. We talked plenty of times during the Jim Boylen days, like, he was asking you to do things that you weren't comfortable doing and not letting you play your game. And I thought that Billy Donovan recognized what your game was and put you in positions that you could help the team and also be a threat at any position on the floor, whether you were initiating the offense and getting assists, or whether you were in the post and mid-range game, back to the basket and scoring on people that you knew you could take every time. Like, you could just tell it when you got the ball in the post and it was somebody on you that was your size, it was free cheese, mouse in the house.
Right. That's for sure. I think early, when we were playing in the summer, because all of us came kind of early. So we were playing in the summer. I think early, he realized, we sat down and talked, he just realized, you have a little bit more to you than you've been, displaying. And I told him, I said, yeah, I said, but, at the end of the day, I do what the coaches are asking of me.
Yeah.
So, and that's how I've been all my career. Like, if you're a coach that asks me to do something, I'm going to go out there and try to do it to the best of my abilities. But when you give me a little bit of free range just to kind of play, then that you start to create a completely different player because now I'm not in the box. Like I can play outside of the box a little bit and I can help the team a little bit better because like I'm good at several different things. I'm not overly great at everything, but I'm good at several different things that can help a team, and it doesn't show up in the box score.
Yeah, hey, I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna lie. Like you were floating around with triple doubles all season long. I was over there like, come on, that's why I gave you the name Thaddeus Johnson. Because you was out there setting your teammates behind the back passes, no look passes. I said they done turned Thad loose now, baby. They done messed up. And your play every single night was probably with Zach too, was probably the most consistent. And Vooch, you guys were the most consistent players. You knew every single night that, what you were going to do. You knew every single night what Zach's going to do, Vooch is going to do. And I think, when you look at what this team is constructed this year, it's a whole different roster. I mean, other than Zach and Kobe and Patrick Williams,
that's it.
There's no hangover. There's no one left off the team from last year. It's a whole different roster. But your time here, people love you here. People love you here. And, I wish they would have found a way, in order to get something, you got to give up something. You know what I'm saying? Right. And you are everybody wants you on the team. That's why contenders want you on the team because you're so versatile. You can guard. Not only can you score and pass, but you can guard.
Yep. Yeah. I mean, like you said, like just that's always what I've tried to do was just be versatile, make sure that, I'm not hurting the team, but I'm helping the team in every way possible. Starting with the defensive side of the basketball, and then that kind of transitions over to the offensive side. But I think I surprised, Billy and the rest of the guys a little bit. Just with like my ability to kind of like pass. Like I think it was just a surprise. Like when we were having those early sessions in like before camp and stuff like that. Just like how like I was reading the defense and reading backdoor cuts and stuff like that. And he was like, "Oh, okay." Like he got a little extra to him. Like he can play in the pocket, which I've done that my whole career. But I was like on the receiving end of the pocket where I could just throw the floaters up as opposed to making the extra pass. But now teams are converging on the lane, and and everybody wants to shoot threes. So why not kick them all out and get guys open shots?
Thad, give our audience some insight into what the Bulls front office is like. I mean, Arturas Karnisovas is kind of like the international man of mystery. He holds his secrets close to the vest. I know you've probably had some conversations with him. Obviously, he turned over the entire roster, as Stacey mentioned, in a couple of years. Did you get a feeling for that was what he was going to do? And how does he conduct his business in terms of his relationships with the players?
I mean, for the most part, like, him and Mark, they have really good relationships with the players. They both, they both are consistent with their message, each and every day that, the team's going to get better and we're going to make the team better. That type of message that's being told to everybody. Obviously, like they flipped over the whole roster, and they got a bunch of new guys, and they're starting fresh. Which I kind of knew that was going to happen anyway. Just because I've been a part of like when we get new GMs, we get new presidents. Like, there's no obligation to the players that was there before. There's more obligation to the players that they're bringing in. So for me, I just wanted them to be very, very consistent with the message that was being said and what they were doing. And they for the most part, they were. I think the only thing that really just like surprised me was me being thrown in the DeMar trade. But other than that, everything else was super consistent.
So you were caught off guard by that?
For sure. Yeah, like I found out I was in the parking lot of at the sports academy around the corner from my house. So when I got traded.
Wow. Well, I tell you what, man, I mean, you will be sorely missed. And I know that, San Antonio is very lucky to have a veteran that not only can help lead these younger players and teach these kids how to be pros, but can still bring it every night and play at a high level and show these kids that not only do you prepare, not only do you take care of your body, there's a reason why you played so many years in this league. And those guys can look towards you and try to learn and pick up those things.
Yep. Yeah. I mean, like everything I've continuously like done over the course of my career is not only good for the team, but it's good for myself as well. Being healthy has always been, a big key for me. Just staying healthy throughout the course of the season, making sure that I'm always available, for my guys. And, I plan to continue to do that. Obviously, like, the Lord has like blessed me, with the ability to continue to be able to play basketball at a high level at this point in time in my career when, a lot of guys on the downside of it, or a lot of guys are not even in the league anymore. I was looking at something the other day. Well, somebody brought it to my attention the other day that I played more minutes and more games than anybody in my draft class. So I'm very happy about that. And playing, still being able to play at a high level, still being able to have years in front of me, it has always been huge for me.
1,033 games, 710 starts.
Amazing.
Since he came in the league.
How many guys in your draft class are still playing?
Man, that's a good question. Me, Katie, Jeff Green, Mike Conley, Marcus All, if we gonna still say he's on the roster.
Yeah.
Jared just retired, started coaching. So about L. Horford.
Wow, that was a nice draft class.
Jeez.
Getting ready to start.
That was a nice draft
15th
class.
season. Yeah,
wow,
that's fantastic. Hey, I know a lot of Bulls fans would be interested in your perspective with the addition of DeMar DeRozan and Lonzo Ball. How good do you think this Bulls team can be this year, and do you think they can compete for a playoff spot in the East?
For sure, can compete for a playoff spot. As far as like how good they can be, is all predicated on how Zach and DeMar kind of plays off each other and Vooch. Like obviously, like they're all 20-point per game scorers. Somebody's gonna have to, sacrifice a little bit, for the betterment of the team. And then another thing is, DeMar likes to get into the mid range and play out of the mid range. So that can pose a bit of a problem for Vooch being in the paint, or that can pose a little bit of a problem like with guys trying to get into the paint and stuff like that. But for the most part, like Zach's gonna do what he do. He's one of the best scorers in the league, so I don't think Zach will foresee any problems or anything like that. But I can see that, at some point, like they might bump heads. It's not gonna be like intentional. It's just gonna be like the way each and every one of them plays off each other. And they're gonna have to figure out how to play off each other sooner than later, because once the season starts, like it's a continuous grind every single day. And whoever's the most well-conditioned team and the team that plays together the best, they're gonna obviously be the top tier team.
Yeah, I said this year Billy's going to have to coach. This is going to be interesting to see. And I consider him a really, really good coach in this league. I like some of the things he did when he came in, but this year he's really going to have to coach, and he's going to have to manage egos because there's so many new guys here. There's so many guys that can play, so many guys that want the ball. I think the best thing that's happened to the Bulls, picking up Lonzo Ball as a point guard, and now you've got a guy who's a pass first, pass second type of guard to get these other guys involved.
Yeah, I just think that like for how their team is structured now, I think that obviously like Pat, he's not really a four per se. I think that him having to slide to the four kind of hurts his development a little bit from playing like the three and having the ball in his hands and having to play with it a lot. And then, you still got Kobe, so figuring out how that kind of works out with Kobe. But other than that, I think it's going to be like, I think they're going to have a good season. I just think that they're going to run into some hiccups where, guys are going to have to figure out how to play with each other. Like, and that's typical with any new team.
Yeah.
Hey, your new coach, Greg Popovich, of course, one of the most decorated coaches in NBA history, but he's also a connoisseur of fine wine. Do you like wine? Would you share a glass or a bottle with your head coach and over some discussions about the future of the team?
Honestly, I don't think I have a choice. I don't think I have a choice. How can I tell him no?
Exactly.
Team player.
Come back and coach, Tad.
Right. No, he's definitely he's definitely a guy that you don't want to tell no.
So when you're done playing, you're very versatile. You got businesses. You got your hand in a lot of different things. What do you see yourself doing when your career is over? Would you like to coach, go into management?
I don't want to coach. I don't want to coach. I don't want to coach. Trying to manage, first of all, as a player, trying to sort through and manage 15 different egos every day is tough. That's just tough. That's tough on a player. So you can only imagine how tough it is for a coach to try to manage those. So I definitely don't want to do any, I don't want to be a coach, not on the NBA side, at least. But I would love to go into front office work. I think I'll be really good at going into front office work. I understand the numbers, the analytics, the salary cap, how the exceptions work and all that stuff. Simply because I wanted to know all this stuff because of I wanted to have a grasp on what I could potentially make as a player and what my high points is and what my low points is and how I could fall in between in the median points on contracts and stuff like that. And I just pay attention to that type of stuff when it's time, just because I want to know, as a player, what can my financial opportunity be from, me going to a team or me, getting a new contract and stuff like that. But I definitely think front office work, continuing to do the stuff that I do outside of that, which is real estate and venture capital, angel investing and stuff like that. So continuing to do those things as well.
With that, we want to thank you so much for joining us and sharing some insights on what's going to be coming up in this NBA season. We wish you and your family all the best in San Antonio or wherever your career eventually leads you. And I know Bulls fans are going to miss you so much. You would have been a perfect fit on this team, and we appreciate all the contributions you've done made in Chicago.
This is Rambling Wreck.
The Rambling Wreck, baby. We're playing your fight song, baby. Thad, I never heard that song. I never heard that fight song.
He wasn't there real long. But
I was over there for 9 months.
Oh, good seeing you, boy.
Dad, thank you so much.
This year.
Give our best to your wife and family.
And leave your wife on Twitter. Tell her stay on Twitter. Tweet her everywhere she wants. Yeah.
We're coming right back.
She's sitting right next to me right now. They said stay on Twitter.
No, stay on Twitter. Tell her to stay on.
No.
She said no. They said stay on Twitter. They like
Yeah.
She said I'm about to get on right now.
Yeah, tell her to stay on Twitter. Hey, speak her mind.
And make sure she promotes it.
And
Give me the hot sauce.
Hey, then I'm gonna retweet it.
They said they're gonna retweet everything. She said, oh God.
Thaddeus Young, our special guest on the NBA preview edition of Give Me the Hot Sauce. We're going to wrap things up coming up.
All right, TY, boy. Have a good year.
All right, John.
Stay healthy, boy.
All right, thank you.
Thanks, Dad.
Peace out.
Yes, sir.
Our special thanks to Thaddeus Young for giving us some insight on what's going on with his life and looking around the NBA. This is our NBA preview show, episode number 48. We're going to take a brief break, talk a little bit of football, a little rapid fire, Stinger. The guns are paralyzed. The guns have never owned. There they are. That's how Justin Fields feels after getting sacked 9 times. Stacey, that was one of the ugliest NFL performances I think I've ever seen.
You know what? I started to call in from the booth and just take the headset off Nagy and put them on myself like I was playing Madden. I seriously, because I was so disappointed. They didn't give this kid a chance. Listen, we know the offensive line is not good at all. We know that. But, Myles Garrett is a beast. And he's going to get a lot of those kind of games where he gets 3-sack games, 4-sack games. He's that good. But man, they made him look like all world, like Mean Joe Green. I mean, the offensive linemen, were beat as soon as they hiked the ball. They were in the backfield. The kid had no chance whatsoever. And how about play calling? You had a whole week to prepare for this kid to put a package in to let him operate out of. And
149 days.
And it looked like the same game plan you gave to the Red Rocket.
He's just dropping straight back.
He's not a drop back passer. Especially when you don't have a line that can block. Put the kid in shotgun like he's used to in college. Let him run some RPOs. Get him on the outside on the edge and let him make plays with his legs.
I don't want to sound like some cliche Chicago sports radio show, but I tend to disagree with you because he's just not ready. He's just not ready to play. Their offensive line is not there to protect him. He's not in a good situation. And,
Jason Peters should go back to the fishing boat. At 39 years old, he was a turnstile trying to block Myles Garrett.
Right. And I'm just saying, like, it just shows you where the Bears organization is.
He has no other choice. They had no other choice but to play him. Had Andy Dalton not got hurt, you probably wouldn't see him. But now it's not if he's ready or not. It's preparing him and putting in a package the week he's going to start. You knew way ahead of time he was going to be out there. So how about put a package out there and stop using the same package you gave for Dalton?
They had all summer to work on a package.
I think, and once you put in one package, the defenses are so sophisticated they'll figure out what you're doing.
But we have to get to that point, though.
But here's the thing, though. He's the coach, and now he's saying he's not sure one of three guys might start.
He sucks. I'm just going to be honest. He sucks.
He
sucks. I'm just going to be honest. Because listen, he's supposed to be an offensive genius. Let's just be honest. He came here from Kansas City, supposed to be this offensive
Andy
genius.
Reid's right-hand man.
And he does not look like, I thought Trestman's offense was better. To be honest with you. But again, you knew this kid. If Dalton doesn't get hurt and have that hurt ankle, he doesn't play. We all know that. You were bringing him in sub packages. You have packages for him on a 4-down type of play. How about having one for a game? Let's put a package in. How about we call Baltimore? Hey, what do you guys do for Lamar Jackson? Let's put that kind of package in. Forget the defenses are sophisticated. Who cares about that? That kid is more than a runner. He is a passer. He has made some unbelievable throws in preseason. He's made some unbelievable throws in practices. Everybody knows he has a big arm. He can read defenses, but it's tough to read a defense when you got 10 guys. They were blitzing at least 9 times, like 9 people.
He's not the only one that's struggling. All those other guys are struggling.
They're all going to struggle. They're all going to struggle.
So it may not necessarily be the package. It may be just
the package, John.
Adjustment.
John, it's the package.
It's the team. It's the team.
Package. If you got an offensive line that can't block, why would you put him under center?
Yeah.
Common sense. If you know your offensive line can't block,
right? But why
would you put a guy under center?
You just said as soon as they hike the ball, they're on him.
Yeah,
so
but no. Listen to what I'm saying, John.
So,
listen to what I'm saying. You're a smart guy. Listen.
You put him in, but you put him in
put him in the shotgun.
And
where he's comfortable. They have shotgun plays. Right. They ran shotgun plays for Trubisky.
Right.
They put Trubisky in shotgun plays.
Right.
Okay, how many shotgun plays did we see against Cleveland?
But don't you think at some point the defense will adjust to that? They'll put the right personnel.
Let's make them adjust.
Yeah,
let's make them adjust. They didn't have to adjust.
I think we got to give
10 people at him one time, but there was 4th down. They sent everybody at him.
I've heard this. It was Trestman. Now I'm hearing about Nagy. Let's just get to the heart of the matter here. It's about the organization not spending the money on the free agents. We talked about that this winter.
They're spending money. They're just spending it on the wrong people. That offensive line is embarrassing. It's not NFL caliber.
I think it begins on both lines. Look at we talked about with the Rams. With their front four, their ability to just rush 4 guys.
I'm not going to ever talk bad about the Bears defense. The Bears defense kept them in the game as long as they could. They just got tired.
Right.
They got tired when Kareem Hunt ran that 1 touchdown, 27. You could tell they were exhausted.
Yeah.
And they battled to the very end. So now as a coach, you see your defense, and I guarantee if I was a defense player, I'd be like, yo, Nagy, what you doing? Come on, man. We can't be out on the field all day. Come on, bro. You got to put him in something where we can win this game. The game was winnable. Yeah. And then all of a sudden the defense gets tired.
Yeah.
They give a run to Kareem Hunt. And then next thing you know, they come out and they run the same kind of sequences they ran all day long. The kid was running he got to the line. The audible he called was run. That's what he called audible. Most probably like Peyton Manning, 18, blue 72, 4-3. Yeah. He's calling all these audibles. Justin Field gets to the line of scrimmage. Run, hike. That was the audible. Just run, run. And I felt so bad for that kid because that's the kind of game that can destroy a kid's confidence.
Yep.
Getting sacked that many times. I mean, a couple of times he got hit so hard, you could tell he was hurt.
Yeah. Well, that's why if you go back, you see guys like Aaron Rodgers spent 3 years watching Brett Favre. We talked to Jimmy Garoppolo spent 3 years under Tom Brady. The NFL is a whole different, it's not the college game. And you need to be sitting on the sidelines and kind of seeing things. And
way better.
But you know what, though? You got Hall of Famers still playing, and those guys were sitting behind those guys. There's no Hall of Famer here in Chicago.
There isn't.
Okay. There's not one quarterback that's been here. You say, okay, that guy should be playing, sitting behind him.
Yeah.
There's not these young teams like, Trevor Lawrence. There's nobody in front of him that's like a Tom Brady type of player. Those guys are forced to play right out the box.
And that's why it's going to be interesting to see these guys, this class of 2021, who's going to last, who's going to make
even
it.
Mac Jones. Mac Jones should not have been started. You should have played Cam Newton. You should have played Cam Newton. And then if Cam Newton, after 6 games or he gets hurt or something, then you trot that kid out there to get rid of a veteran quarterback, a former MVP caliber quarterback that Mac Jones could have learned from.
I agree.
And had confidence coming in because now he's watching the game. He's in the quarterback's room. Yeah. He's studying the game. Yeah. He's watching Cam Newton, how he prepares.
I just think it's funny how we just want to rush these guys out there. And I don't remember for the history watching football as long as I've had, there's been a lot of guys that have been behind guys just as understudies.
Well, I heard Boomer Esiason on the radio driving here today. He was talking about the fact he came into the league. He backed up Ken Anderson. And he said Ken Anderson was great to him. Helped him develop, taught him the things he needed to learn. He said he got a chance to start 4 games as a rookie. He didn't know what the hell he was doing. And he thinks that Justin Fields is not ready. That's what Boomer Esiason.
No, right. He's not ready. And you know what? Like I said, I mean, if you go out and get Andy Dalton, okay? Andy Dalton, a freak injury. Turned his ankle running for a first down. Okay. He's out. Now you got Nick Foles. Now you have a choice there. You could throw Nick Foles out there. He was your starter most of the season.
I would have done that. I would have done that in a heartbeat.
We're not going to play Justin Fields. Yep. We're not going to play him. We'll put him in certain situations where we need a running quarterback play. We'll put him in that situation. But right now we're going with our veteran quarterbacks. That's what they're here for. So Justin's going to sit. And at some point this year, maybe at the end of the season, 3 or 4 games left in the season, you put him in. But there's people's jobs on the line in Chicago. Yeah. Whether people don't want to admit that or not, but here Nagy's job's on the line.
It might be
Pace's job.
I don't think it is. I think the ownership loves those guys.
And besides the Packers, that division isn't very. I mean, Detroit, Minnesota won this weekend. You don't listen. There's an opportunity to improve. It's only week 3, and
I saw Detroit play. Detroit can score.
Yeah,
they can score. They can put up 35, 40 points like it ain't nothing.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't be saying that's an easy win for anybody.
Did you see how they lost yesterday?
Yeah.
On a record-setting 66-yard field goal. They should have won that game. They should have won against the Ravens.
And they have an explosive offense.
Yeah.
And I've been impressed with them. Green Bay is Green Bay. Green Bay to go into San Francisco and win after the way they played early in the season. You can never count Aaron Rodgers out. Aaron Rodgers is laughing at everybody who counted him out. Aaron Rodgers like, we'll drop the first 2 games. Who cares? You know what? I'm going to win 12 in a row, and we're going to go to the Super Bowl, the NFC Championship, and that's where we're going to be.
He was jumping up and down on the sidelines when that field goal went through. So people say he doesn't care. He still cares.
Oh, yeah.
Put that uniform on and battle for 60 minutes.
He loves his teammates, man. The teammates rally for him.
Well, that's his guy. Crosby's his guy. Right. But when he spiked that ball, he gave a big
I did it. Yeah,
he did this thing. But that was a huge win because the 49ers are a really good football team.
Right, Southside?
I tell you, somebody else just don't be sleeping on is that the Phoenix Cardinals. Do not sleep on the Phoenix Cardinals.
Kyler Murray.
I'm telling you right now. I'm telling you right now, boy, they are explosive.
Yeah.
They are explosive. Their defense with Chandler Jones is man. I mean, they don't sleep on them, America. Don't sleep.
The big game coming up in week 4 of the NFL is Tom Brady against Bill Belichick. Brady will pass Drew Brees as the all-time leader in passing yardage. And it's interesting, Belichick met the media, and it's always so painful to watch one of his news conferences. But, he tried to avoid any questions about Tom Brady, but he said that we want to keep him here. He just thought that he had a better situation with the Bucs, which of course isn't true. They kind of ran Brady out, and now they're looking foolish. They ran Brady out.
No, Robert Kraft said,
who believes that?
Well, I do. I mean, for one
No,
thing,
yeah, of course you do.
yeah, but think about it though. He had a better situation. Tampa was loaded. Tampa is a great situation.
He wouldn't have left if they had made him feel like they wanted him and given him a competitive contract.
They did offer him a competitive contract. They did. There was an offer on the table, and I think looking at the situation, that team was sort of depleted after coming off a Super Bowl.
He made the right move.
He did.
I mean, seriously, Tom Brady for the last 4 years, if it wasn't for him, they wouldn't even be where they are. You put anybody else in that situation, they win maybe 7 games. Tom Brady elevates the whole level of your team. He takes average receivers and makes them into superstar receivers. We've seen it over the years. He now goes to Tampa Bay. Now he's got Ferraris everywhere. You got Mike Evans, you got Goodwin, you got what's my man's name? Antonio Brown, and you got Gronk.
OJ Howard, they got Gronk, they brought in Fournette. They got
a squad, and all he has to do now is just get out there and just do what he does. Get the ball to the open man, get it moving down, move the chains.
You remember what Jameis Winston did there the year before? He threw a lot of interceptions.
Yeah, yeah, like 30 TDs and 30 picks.
But Tom Brady's going, man, look at all that. He threw for 5,000 yards.
Yeah,
Tom Brady's like, look, I'm going to go down there. I'm going to break the records, which I thought he would. That's at this point, I didn't think they were going to win a Super Bowl, but
I did.
Geez.
So anytime TB12 was on your team, but he had to look at Jameis Winston and said, wait a minute, this dude threw for 5,000 yards, 30 touchdowns, 30 interceptions. Yeah. If I can throw half those interceptions and those are touchdowns now, oh my goodness. Hey, Bruce Arians, plus I'm coming to Tampa.
Plus, the other thing, the climate down in that division is a lot easier.
Easier on his
body.
No
state tax.
Easy on his body. Right. No state tax. But easier on his body. And he looked at Buffalo. They were coming.
She'll like it
Buffalo was coming for him. So but we'll see this weekend.
They're gonna win.
Hey, if you missed episode 47 to Give Me the Hot Sauce, make sure to check it out. We had the former Oklahoma great Marcus Dupree. Yes. And remember, Marcus was telling us he was going down for that game against West Virginia. He was probably hiding on the sideline like Stacey would have been. I didn't go to school at Oklahoma.
Mark, that's uncalled for. Okay.
Well, you said it many times that they're struggling. You don't go to school there.
Mark. I don't think I said that, Mark.
Yeah, I think you did.
I need to hear that on tape. I need to hear that on tape. If you play it back for me, I'll believe you. But I'm not going to own up to that. All right. Boomer Sooner, baby. We're undefeated. That's all I'm going to say right now. Listen, we're not winning pretty right now.
No,
I was a little nervous.
I was watching the second.
I was a little nervous. I was like, oh my goodness. And then, Stinger has to text me. You got to text me and harass me while I'm sitting at home eating barbecue wings, minding my own business. Not ribs. Because Tim didn't give me no ribs. But it was barbecue wings.
Just for that bad snap, it wouldn't have been Sooner Boomer.
It would have, I would have jumped. I don't know. I'm not going to jump off the bandwagon, America. Don't listen to Mark Sinowski. This is how the Beatles broke up. Yoko, he's our Yoko Ono. Yeah. He's going to try to break us up over here, America. I am going to support the Sooners, win or lose. I am going to support my Sooners.
Mostly win, though.
But you're right. You're right. I'm just not going to talk as much trash when they lose.
Hey, they only have 2 ranked teams on the schedule right now: Baylor, 21, and Oklahoma State.
John, no one cares. No one cares. We're Oklahoma. It doesn't matter. We can play the Sisters of the Poor. Oklahoma, if they run the schedule, Oklahoma is going to be in the playoff. They want us there. They want us there. I don't care.
They're down to 6 this week.
Listen, we'll lose one game.
They're down to 6.
Okay, they're down to 6. You know why we're down to 6? Because we haven't been impressive. Okay, they're mad at us right now. They're saying, Oklahoma, you know what? We try to help y'all out. We try to put you up there. Okay, so we're going to bring you down to 6 so y'all get a little motivated, get a little hungry. Okay, start blowing teams out. We'll move you up.
You got Kansas State this week, and then you got Texas. Didn't Texas put a hurting on somebody this week?
Yeah, you know what? I'm gonna tell you something. My friend, I went to high school with, and I played with it. I played youth football with Charles Thompson. His son, Casey Thompson, is the quarterback. Now, this is a kid who could have transferred when Sarkisian came in. Casey Thompson was the starting quarterback going into this year. And then he supposedly got beat out by a freshman, but that wasn't the case because he put up better numbers in spring practices. So they gave this high school kid the starting job. They ended up getting blown out by somebody. I don't know who it was. And then they put Casey Thompson in and they scored like 3. Oh, it was, I think it was like, I wouldn't Texas A&M, but they were getting killed. It was like 40-something to nothing. And then they put Casey Thompson in, the guy who was supposed to be the starter, comes in, throws like 3 touchdowns, makes it respectable, makes the game look a little bit better than what it was. Then Sarkisian comes out the next week and goes, yes, Casey Thompson's our starting quarterback. And then they beat somebody 56. They beat Rice.
Yeah.
They put up 56 or 58 points. And then they beat somebody this week. They put up. So my friend's son has got the starting quarterback job back.
There you
and
go.
he's rolling.
There
And
you
I'm
go.
pulling for him until they play the Sooners. And if they play the Sooners, which is, I think, this week. They play Sooners this week.
Uh-oh.
No. They got Kansas State this week. I got the schedule here.
So it's October.
Yeah. So they got Kansas State and then Texas.
Yeah.
Next week.
The Red River Shootout.
That's the Red River.
Yeah, Red River Shootout. We don't lose that. You can't come back to Oklahoma if you lose the Red River Shootout. We can lose the rest of the games. There's 2 games you have to win if you're an Oklahoma Sooner. That's Texas, and you got to beat Oklahoma State. That's it. We don't even recognize Oklahoma State being in Oklahoma school. We don't even recognize that. We're forced to recognize that they're in Oklahoma, but we really don't recognize them, America.
A couple of top 10 teams got beat last week. Texas A&M and Clemson fell all the way to 25th after they got taken out. So times are a little bit tough for the Clemson.
How about Notre Dame?
They're in the top 10 after beating Wisconsin.
With a third-string quarterback.
Wow. And that game was 13-10 Wisconsin early in the fourth quarter. Then they got a kickoff return for a touchdown and 2 pick sixes.
Oh,
so
man.
The
interceptions at the end of the game.
Yeah.
That was really bad. I was like, who is he throwing to? Did you not see that Notre Dame has dark colored jerseys?
Yeah.
Is he colorblind?
How great was that scene though? Soldier Field, half of it red. I mean, my daughter was there.
That was cool.
Oh, was it?
Red,
Did you guys go?
No. Kitty cat was
What my daughter said,
okay.
it was there were a lot of obnoxious. She kept saying there was a lot of obnoxious Irish fans. That's all she kept saying.
I thought they did a good job directing that game. You could see all the fans in the stands. They did a good job of showing the atmosphere at Soldier Field.
And game day was there.
You got one more.
I got a rifle for you.
Speaking of Wisconsin and great scenes, how about the Ryder Cup? They set a record beating Europe 19-9 and Whistling Straits and Kohler. And seeing those guys with champagne celebration and a little bit tipsy and that making Brooksy and hug it out with DeChambeau.
DeChambeau hit. Did you see? Drove the green
on the first hole.
That's
hole. Sending a message, my friend.
But what I was watching. I was watching while I was doing. But I had a couple screens going. I had his game on. I have multiple screens. But one thing that struck me, I don't know if you noticed this. USA, they're all in blue. They're all look like they're in ads. Like an Under Armour ad. They're all ripped up. You got Koepka who's jacked up, and then you look at guys like Lee Westwood and some of those
Ian
guys,
Poulter,
Tommy, what's the little
Fleetwood with the long hair. Fleetwood.
They all look like they spend way too much time in a pub, smoking way too many cigarettes, but they can play. But it was the contrast. Did you notice the contrast between
it's changing of the guard of the U.S.?
But I mean, these guys are all. I mean, they're all younger, like Spieth and all these guys are younger, but Tom's, but they're all in shape. And
hey, listen, Tiger Woods started that. Tiger Woods started that, man.
He did.
Getting strong and getting the body right. Now everybody is kind of take that page out.
The John Daly guys.
Yeah. But those days are gone. John Daly, those days are gone.
Oh, those guys in their gray pants.
Yeah. Craig Stadler, the Walrus, those days are gone. We're not going to see any more of those kind of players out there unless it's one of us. Okay. It's not going to see any pro out there looking like that anymore. Okay. Them dudes was ripped. Them dudes look like they can play any other sport.
They did.
Seriously.
Well, we hope you enjoyed our rapid fire segment. We're going to get back to a little more NBA talk and wrap up episode 48 of Give Me the Hot Sauce. Hope you're having fun. We are.
White Sox. We're going to do it, baby.
I thought maybe Susan smelled that bad. I'm like, oh no, it's a dog.
That's a call for. That's a call for.
She knows that. She's right here with me.
I did just move.
Because she thought it was me.
I'm going to restart.
Tim, we're going to start up.
No, Kobe down.
We're right next to each other.
Down.
It's start up or start without him.
Oh man. Yeah, start it without him.
Here we go. All right, here we go. 3, 2, 1.
It must be the dog. Thank God.
I can only imagine the conversation between Thaddeus Young and his lovely wife as they head to the airport going, what she's saying, what kind of jokers were you on with, you know? And whispers, what did you call him?
Tad.
I didn't know she was in the car till the very end.
Well, none of
I
us
thought it
did.
had been more proper.
Proper 12.
Yeah,
Oh,
proper 12 as well.
Oh my God.
Oh, boy.
As Tad throwing on the first pitch.
Yeah, Tad. Who are you talking about? Abraham Lincoln's son? Come on, man. Come on, baby.
Well,
Tad.
Well, this is the NBA preview edition to give me the hot sauce, and there's a lot of storylines going on around the league. And Stacey, when you look at the teams that got better over the summer, I think two of the teams that got better were the favorites going in, the Nets and the Lakers. The Lakers are old as hell, but I mean, they actually brought in a couple of guys, younger guys as well. Kendrick Nunn, the Chicago kid who's going to play a little bit, Malik Monk, who played well late in the year for Charlotte, and they re-signed Taylor Horton Tucker from Chicago. So I think the Lakers are the team to beat in the West. And you look at the East with Brooklyn, they brought in Millsap, LaMarcus Aldridge, Patty Mills. Those are a couple of really strong rosters.
Well, I mean, the Lakers, you got to say are the favorites in the West. I mean, they went after Kareem. They went after James Worthy.
Yeah, they didn't want to come out of retirement.
None of those guys.
Barkley and Shaq,
Yeah,
too.
they didn't want to play. They didn't want to play. I mean, they asked Lisa Leslie that she still got any playing time left. They could use her on the bench.
Yeah.
So LeBron has been, he could go down as the greatest GM in history if they win this year.
Yeah.
I don't think it's a slam dunk that they are going to get to the finals. I mean, it's all based on a lot of things, Mark. You saw it last year. I mean, LeBron gets hurt. And then Anthony Davis gets hurt. I love Anthony Davis's game, but you can't count on him, man. I mean, when was the last time you seen him play a full season? I mean, he's a great player, and I'm not taking anything away from him, but he always seems to get hurt, like right in the second half of the season when you're getting ready to go to the playoffs.
Man, half season.
Who let this man in the building?
Just so you know, according to he's never played a full season.
No. And that's got to be a concern if you're the Lakers. I mean, LeBron is LeBron. LeBron is built like Megatron. Like, I mean, it takes a truck to hurt him.
Yeah.
I mean, that was a freak accident that happened to him last year. The guy diving into his legs. I don't know who it was, but they dove into his leg for a loose ball.
And Westbrook is coming off a really good season as well.
Well, and here's the thing about Westbrook. Westbrook now going to be fighting for rebounds. I mean, he's not going to be doing the triple-double.
No triple doubles. No.
So now how's he going to play in that situation where he's not the most ball dominant person now? LeBron is running the offense and setting him up, and he has to run and fill a spot. He's not a spot-up shooter. He's not a good three-point shooter. But I'll take Russell Westbrook on my team any day of the week just because of his personality and what he brings to the table.
I think if they use those vets in the right way, they don't have to play every game. They play half a season, just get them ready for the playoffs. I'm talking about guys like Carmelo Anthony, Dwight Howard, Rondo. If Vogel uses them in an intelligent way, I think that team can be really strong.
Well, I thought bringing back Dwight Howard was huge for them because that was what they needed last year. They needed a center that could go out there and rebound, still play defense. Dwight doesn't play like he used to play, but he's still serviceable. He's a guy that can go out there and get you, 16 rebounds, block some shots, and give you that tough physical presence. And I thought they missed that last year. Gasol's getting up to a little long in the tooth.
He was done.
Yeah, he's a little long in the tooth. I don't ever want to say a player's done, Mark. It's easy for you to say that, but
Because you're not one.
But
look at my track record.
Yeah, I can't. Mark just be kicking people.
He's going to play for a second division team in Spain.
Listen,
yeah.
Hey, listen.
I don't mean. I think it's a borderline circus act.
What? My commentary or
no? Well, yeah. Well, sometimes, but no. The Lakers situation's a borderline circus act.
You better have a strong personality over there to control all those egos.
That's a lot.
That's a lot of. A lot of players.
Egos.
Yeah, Frank Vogel's really going to have to coach. You got to remember now, Jason Kidd's not on that roster to help out. Jason Kidd was big on that roster, with all the players because the players they'd come to him when there was problems or whatever. And he's not on that. He's in Dallas now. And
how's that going to work out, you think, in Dallas?
Listen, Jason Kidd was a great player. I don't know so much as a coach.
Especially with Doncic being a little different than Giannis. A lot of people give him credit for making Giannis what he is, but
Doncic will fire back at the coach. He's not just going to take whatever the coach says.
Well, and Jason Kidd's going to get the respect because he's a Hall of Fame, coach. He's a Hall of Fame, player. But At the same time, everywhere he's been, he's just been average. He hasn't really like had a booming record, 41-41 or something like that. And they may barely make the playoffs. It seems like he's more suited for an assistant coach, but he continues to get jobs. It's amazing that he continues to get jobs.
His overall record's 183, 190. And like you said, King, his most wins was 44 with the Nets and 13-14. That was his best season as a coach.
How do you look at the East? Brooklyn, as I mentioned, looks really strong with the additions they made. And if they can keep those guys healthy, which is a huge if, they look like the class of the league. But Milwaukee made some under the radar additions.
Yeah, Grayson Allen,
George Hill. Well, you can always trip people if things get bad.
Right.
Yeah, he's a Milwaukee player.
Yeah.
Grayson Allen.
Grayson Allen.
Yeah. You can shoot it.
Listen, Milwaukee's in the same situation that we were when we won our championships. It's like, okay, how much do we want to tinker with this? How much do we want to add or take away? We got a core group of guys that they have to look at like these are our core. Okay. Right. And as we have our core, we have to basically build around that core. So you bring complementary players. Oh, it's almost time.
Shocking.
Down. Kobe. Down.
Well,
she takes a bite out of my wrist.
Well, but they got a gift in having Bobby Portis come back. I mean, that's
for less money. For less money. But listen, the Milwaukee fans took to him. That's probably the first place where Bobby really felt loved.
Yeah.
And felt like he really belonged. And the Bulls fans love Bobby, before that punch of Mirotic. But, the Bulls loved his hard work. The Bulls fans loved his hard work, and he was respected here.
You loved him.
I always loved Bobby Portis' game.
But he has a chant in Milwaukee now. Bobby. I mean, it's like he comes to American Family for Brewer games. He threw out the first, and they chant Bobby.
He was at a wrestling match, too, I saw in Milwaukee.
Yeah, well, that was the same match I think Giannis was at, too.
But Milwaukee, though, back to our point, back to our issues here. America, Milwaukee's going to have a tough time. They are. I mean, because the expectations now for them, they won the championship, and coming into year 2 for any team that won a championship, the expectations are super high. There's more pressure on you now, and not just Giannis. It's the guys like Pat Connaughton and all these guys who are like second tier guys. Now you won a championship. Now you got famous. Everybody you did the rounds this summer. You were the talk of the town everywhere you went. And now you got to come and back it up now. Are you still as hungry as you were last year? And that's what teams face, especially some young players. That's what you face when you come back from the second time, because now you're everybody's Super Bowl. When you win that championship, there are no nights off for you. So when you're playing a bad team, that's their Super Bowl. They're going to play you till 4 quarters. They're going to make you earn that win. And you got to do that 82 games. That is a mental grind. I've been in it. I've done it. I've experienced it. It is a mental grind. Every single night, there is no nights off for you.
Since this is our NBA preview show, Stacey, I know you've said it on past episodes, but where do you think the Bulls might be able to compete? What range do you see them fall? I know they're a playoff team.
Well, Mark, I'm not Nick Friedel, okay? Our good friend Nick Friedel.
Don't we have bets on the table?
Yeah, we do. But I'm not Nick Friedel. This is the first step to many steps for the Bulls. Okay, this is what I mean by that, America and Chicago Bulls fans. The first step to getting to the playoffs and being a legitimate playoff team, not getting into the play-in, being a 9th team, legitimately finding themselves somewhere in that 3 to 6 range. I believe they can get, depending on what Ben Simmons does in Philadelphia. You still got Boston that's going to be better this year. I'm not sold on New York. I'm not sold on Atlanta. I think those things were flukes last year.
What about Miami?
Miami's always going to be tough because Spoelstra's a good coach, and those guys play hard every single night. Jimmy Butler is going to be Jimmy Butler. He's going to be doing Jimmy Butler things. So they're going to be in the mix. You got Kyle Lowry there. That was a big pickup for them. That was a huge upgrade at the point guard position. But everyone right now, in my opinion, is chasing Brooklyn. Brooklyn is the number 1 team, hands down. And if James Harden can stay out of strip clubs and ordering chicken wings and get himself into better shape, because last year that was the difference in them getting to the finals, because you can't count on him. He had hamstring injuries, he had soft tissue injuries. And when you're not in shape and you're not, at your physical peak, and especially a guy who plays 40 plus minutes, who's asked to handle the ball, to score, to facilitate, you got to be 100% healthy.
And don't you think it's the pressure is all on him? Because Kyrie's won in Cleveland. Durant's one. He carried them last year. I mean, there's got to be a lot of pressure on Harden based on what happened with Houston and departure. And like you just said, not really being ready to play.
I think that's where the pressure comes. I think that's where not so much he's played at a high level. He's been to the Western Conference Finals. He's been one game away from getting to the NBA Finals. I think the pressure comes from himself is, does he come in tip-top shape? Does he come in and we already know he's going to contribute. You already know he's going to be one of the better players. His numbers proved it. I mean, he played with two superstar players, Kyrie. Now, those three guys hardly play with each other.
Yeah.
That was, imagine if they played half the games last year. You might not have seen them. They might have skyrocketed, had the best record in the league. So this year, the key for them is to have harmony amongst their three main guys. If Kyrie Irving doesn't go off on his tangent and his sage and burning things, and he doesn't lose focus, because at the end of the day, when you have that much talent on that team and there's not a lot of balls to go around, Kevin Durant is really, in my opinion, one of the few superstars next to LeBron James that can go to any team and play with other superstars and still be able to stand out without forcing shots, without being, I got to have 30 shots to get 25 points. He can blend in and still stand out. Now, these other two, it's tough because both those guys need the ball in their hands. I think Harden is a better point guard, and I think Kyrie is the better scoring guard.
Yeah, because he's willing. Yeah. Harden's willing to pass.
Yes, he's willing to pass. I mean, this is a guy gets you 16, 17 assists at the point guard position. Now, if he comes in healthy and he comes in, I think he has a chip on his shoulder. I think he wants to prove everybody that was a fluke year last year. I spent a lot of time in Houston trying to force a trade, and my body, eating chicken wings and having a good time at Hooters and strip clubs. He just was not in shape. And then, he was forced, after he got traded to Brooklyn, he was forced to play right away. So he never got to work himself into shape.
Yeah, I don't see it working. I just don't. There's too much there. There's too, like you said, ball in your hand.
They need Rondo.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they need
Rondo.
They definitely need more than those three, because until they do.
I don't know, man. You got Patty Mills.
Millsap.
You got Millsap. You got Joe Harris is still there. They didn't lose Blake Griffin,
Bruce Brown.
They didn't lose any of their core group of guys. Yeah. They were able to pick up guys off the scrap heap, and they didn't have to overpay for anybody, because it's like everybody's chasing rings now. Blake Griffin is cheap. You got Paul Millsap, who's like mid-level exception. They're all playing for a ring, because honestly, Paul Millsap should have came to Chicago.
Yeah.
He was on the verge of coming to Chicago, but it came to a point where, Chicago is going to be better, but this team has a chance to win a championship.
He's never won a ring.
And he's never won a ring.
Two concerns, though: the Lakers and this team. They're both have to be like the oldest teams in the league, and I just think, you need some young legs on that court.
You got to be healthy going into the playoffs.
Yeah,
that's always the most important.
Right? It's so unpredictable how the season is going to turn out, because we're still battling COVID, and guys will miss games. There's going to be guys missing games. There's going to be teams missing games being canceled. We saw it last year, and now that you're bringing the fans back into the arena, and you're going to have 20,000 people there now, that risk goes up even higher now. And I don't really care if you've been vaccinated or not. You still can get COVID if you've been vaccinated. So that's going to play an important role in. But I also think this too, guys. It's those teams have depth. See, they can fall back on whatever they got behind them and say, hey, look, we don't have to play Kevin tonight. They can miss 3 or 4 games, rest them, and we got so much quality depth behind them. The Lakers do too. They got quality depth at every position, so they can sit LeBron James. They can sit, Anthony Davis and still be able to win games. But don't count out Denver. Do not count out the Denver Nuggets. Denver Nuggets got a really bad call this past year, losing Jamal Murray to an ACL injury. If Jamal Murray is healthy, they don't lose. They don't lose to the Phoenix Suns. Okay. So he comes back healthy. The Joker is going to be doing what he's doing. There's going to be some teams that are going to surprise you in the Western Conference. The Eastern Conference now is no longer just a 2-team race. It is probably deeper, in my opinion, than the West is right now.
And I don't think LeBron's going to miss too many games, because he's chasing Kareem.
He'll get that record. Just a matter of time.
But he's got to have to play. I mean, he's going to have to play and score.
He's waiting for Bronny to come in.
His pride was hurt last year. that they went from the number 1 team down to they had to fight their way to get to the playoffs, and then they got beat. That's one of the first times he's got beat in the first round in a long time.
Yeah, they were in the play-in. People forget that.
They were in the play-in. And so there's some motivation there. That's why he hit the recruiting trail so hard.
Yeah.
That's why he was trying to get. That's why he got Westbrook. Hey, come over to my house with barbecue and have some of Tim Kelly's barbecue ribs.
No. He's on that TB12 juice now.
Oh, he gets
TB12.
Yeah,
he gets the invite.
Yeah, he gets the invite. No, you don't get the invite.
Oh, sorry, guys.
I'm sorry. Oh, listen, Kobe, what are you doing there, buddy? Kobe, what are you doing?
A cameo.
Listen, Kobe over here. Look at Kobe. Kobe, say hello.
Say hello to all your fans on YouTube. He's gonna have his own account on Twitter.
Oh my God!
Look at him.
Kobe Kai.
That's Kobe Kai, America. This is my guard dog. He's only 11 months old, but he will bite your ankles off if you try to attack me. Okay.
He's been licking my ankles.
Well, you're a woman. You're a woman. There's a reason why he's licking your ankles. You're a woman. He's not licking guys' ankles. He knows what he's doing. No, hey, the apple don't fall too far from the tree. Susan.
What was he doing to you, Tim?
I've been known to lick a couple ankles myself.
I did put some peanut butter earlier.
You put some peanut butter on earlier.
Hey, let's not talk about that right now.
Oh my God. Oh, America. Oh my God. This guy is a freak.
Well, I think the dogs are restless, so it's time to bring down the curtain on episode 48 of Give Me the Hot Sauce.
Violation.
Timmy was going to tell a great story about his favorite NBA experience. You want to tell that?
Tell it.
Well, I was with Stace, the 3 overtimes of the Celtics. And Stace got some great seats. That was
Noah stealing the ball from Paul Pierce and dunking it. Yeah.
And Ray Allen hitting the shot after hitting his ass off the scorer's desk. And
was that the fight too?
Yeah.
That was the fight with Kirk Heinrich and Rondo. Our favorite guy, Rondo.
That was the best.
That was right from the jump.
Once again, Whisper sounds like the late great Chris Farley. Remember that time? That was awesome.
Yeah.
That was awesome.
Nobody knows how dry I am. Nobody knows.
Wow, really?
How dry I am.
On that note,
30 years of abuse, America. 30 years of abuse. It continues. All right, on that note,
time to throw the ball in the air and play some hoops.
It's time to throw the ball up in the air. The Bulls are back, baby. If you don't have your season tickets, get out there and get them now because it's going to be tough to get them later, baby.
Whispers out.
Whispers out. Drive home safely. Beep, beep.